Hello, just a quick little video. So, the candidates last night, at least some of them, were asked about legalizing marijuana. This was the debate in South Carolina about legalizing marijuana. They supported it, and Klobuchar, her response was okay. Definitely wasn't the worst one, wasn't the best. Best one was Bernie's, the worst one was Biden, so I'll get into that in a little bit. So, Klobuchar said that she supports legalizing marijuana and that, it was okay for Bernie to say that he wanted to legalize it through executive order on day one, nationwide, as well as expunge all, possessions or people who have, records for weed possession, that type of thing. He wants to expunge that. Klobuchar didn't support that. Doing that day one, at least, she thought it should be a more long, drawn out process, which I agree with Bernie on. People who have been charged and had to go through the criminal justice system for simple possession of a plant, a mind altering plant. And obviously, the war on drugs has been hugely racist and targeted communities of color, black people, Hispanic, Latino people, Native American communities have disproportionately been negatively affected by it. And so no, expunge all those records day one. Bernie's right. So Klobuchar, I would rate her answers. So she wants to legalize it, but not the record. So maybe B minus. It's decent. It's decent. Bernie's. So then let's get to oligarch racist, one of the two billionaires running in the race, Michael Bloomberg's response. He doesn't support legalizing it at all. He thinks more research needs to be done because of it's so dangerous and the whole reefer madness, and it might kill us and make us go crazy and all of these things. So that's Bloomberg's perspective, and he supports states' rights to legalize it, but doesn't think it needs to be done on a federal level because it's so dangerous. Mind you, this is the same person who banned big gulps in New York City. Is famous for his horribly racist and problematic stop and frisk policy, which disproportionately affected communities of color in just a very hugely negative way, just terrorizing young black and brown people in and around New York City for years. And the reason stop and frisk was finally stopped after 5 million people had been targeted by this horribly racist and problematic program is only stopped because the Bloomberg administration and the police department were sued in federal court for the stop and frisk policy, and the court ruled that obviously it was hugely unconstitutional and they had to stop it. So that's why stop and frisk stopped. This is Michael Bloomberg. This is the person who doesn't support legalizing weed because it's so dangerous and scary, and just what a authoritarian oligarch, and how out of touch is he. It's like 60 or 70% of the United States believes that marijuana, weed, cannabis, reefer, whatever you want to call it, is and should be legalized because they understand it's a plant. Adults should be able to consume it if they want to. Don't drive, don't do it around kids, that type of thing. But you're an adult, put whatever into your own body that you want, just do it responsibly. And most people have a little bit of common sense and logic to their thinking, or at least they can in certain circumstances, and that's one where a vast majority of the United States believes that it should be legal. And they're right. Bloomberg's just totally wrong on this issue as well as many others. And again, the only reason he was able to get into the race was because he bought his way into it. He spent $400+ million already on campaign ads. He donated a huge chunk of money to the DNC. Then they changed the rules that allowed him to get onto the debate stage. He's been sued, I believe, 64 times for sexual harassment and or gender discrimination, and he had those people sign a bunch of NDA, so we'll never exactly know the true nature of what was done. But we have some things of him telling pregnant women that he should kill their unborn babies, about how he wants to have sex with his employees, just hugely demeaning, sexist, misogynistic, and he was in that position of power, so it even makes it more twisted because he was in this very privileged and powerful position. He was able to get away with it, and then just pays these people off and makes them sign these NDAs. He's horrible. He's a horrible candidate and not a very good person from all the things that we've heard about Michael Bloomberg. So that's Bloomberg. Then Bernie, again, wants to legalize it day one, expunge all criminal records for marijuana possession, and he's totally right. He wants to do it through executive order day one, and he points out again how racist the drug war is and has been, and how we incarcerate more people than anybody in the world, which is just, America, right? Don't say America, say the United States, because America is a huge continent. What are you referring to? I live in the United States, which is in North America, but I'm in the U.S. Sorry, it's a bit of a tangent and kind of a pet peeve of mine. I'm going to start always trying to be more cognizant of doing that. So he's, points out how racist the drug war is, and you can't really consider the United States to be the land of the free if we have more people locked up in prison in solitary confinement and this just being treated in this really horrible and inhumane and unethical and just really disgusting ways that we're obviously not the land of the free when we're locking more people up than any country on the earth, which is just nuts. So, and he points out how the drug war has disproportionately affected communities of color. So he wants the, dispensaries and pot shops that would open up through legalizing weed on the federal level. He wants those, those companies, those organizations to be headed by and operated by and owned by communities of color, so they'll actually be benefiting from legalized weed nationwide instead of these huge corporations that might try to jump in that are just going to exploit these same communities for profit. And so Bernie's totally right there. Communities that have been most negatively impacted by the war on drugs should be the ones benefiting when weed is legalized nationwide. Bernie, and then just another reason to support Bernie over all of the other candidates. This is awesome. He wants to literally, he said, legalize marijuana first day in office through executive order, and then expunge, all the people's records for weed charges. And it's like, Bernie just gets it. Burners for Bernie, and it's just again another example of the humanity and rational and reasonable and progressive thinking of Bernie Sanders. He's the candidate who does the best job of looking out for the interest of the working people of the United States. He also has the most progressive lens and looks through things through a social justice and economic justice issue. And just with, the legalizing weed part, how he brought it back to, making sure that the communities that have been really harmed in these really serious and horrible ways for years, through decades, I should say, through the war on drugs, they should be the ones benefiting when weed is legalized. So again, we got to do everything that we can to make sure Bernie Sanders is the nominee. He's not perfect, but he's the best chance that we have of radically improving the lives of people in the United States in some really positive and tangible ways. Things like Medicare for All, so we don't have 70,000+ people dying each year. That's a football stadium, a huge, maybe the football stadium that they would have the Super Bowl at, full of people that won't be dead each year. Just think about that. A football full stadium of people, like capacity 70,000, won't be dying each year because they have health care. Oh yeah, and we'll also be saving $450+ billion a year. And that was a study that was just published in the Lancet not too long ago. So, Bernie 2020, knock on doors, text, call, talk to friends, talk to family members, get the word out there, post on social media, donate if you can. We got to make sure he is the Democratic nominee. Peace, love. Share your thoughts in the comment sections down there. Need to get a tripod. Peace.